Hey guys! So on Thursday the 25th of August, so about a week or so ago now, I got my GCSE results. I wasn't really planning on doing this video, but my friend Jess, I'll link her channel below, said she was doing a video. I watched her video and I thought, why not make one myself? So basically I'm going to talk you through my GCSE results, so let's get on with the video. Okay, so at my school we have to do 7 compulsory subjects, being maths, English language, English literature, chemistry, biology, physics and French. For some reason we have to do French. And then we got to pick up to 4 options ourselves, and I did geography, Mandarin, ICT and drama. I'm going to work my way through from the most important to the least, not least important, from like the ones we had to do to the ones I got to choose myself. So starting off with maths, I was predicted an A and I got an A, which I'm pretty chuffed with. I was hoping in some respects to get an A star, but that was kind of being a bit too hopeful, as I'm wanting to do maths for A level. I wanted to try and get that A star, but I'm still so happy with an A because a few years ago I dropped. I've always been good at maths, pretty good, like when I was younger, and a few years ago I suddenly dropped and I got a tutor, and that really did help. So I have to thank my parents for allowing me to have a tutor, because my older sister had a tutor for maths as well and it was the same person, and it really did help. So if you're struggling, don't be afraid to ask for help, because I know I've always been one asking for help, like admitting defeat, but honestly it really did help, and it helped with my confidence as well in maths. And I think that was the main problem. After being good then dropping, you need to bring back your confidence, and that definitely did, and that's why I got my A, I think. Next 2 subjects are the Englishes. I'm going to start with English language. In this I was predicted an A and I got an A, which I'm really happy with, although I'm again slightly disappointed I didn't get the A star, because I got an A star in my mocks, but I found out after looking at the grade boundaries for this and looking at the UMS marks, if you don't do GCSEs you won't really understand what UMS marks are, because yeah, I was only 2 UMS marks off getting the A star, so I'm really considering sending off for a remark. Tell me what you think, commenting below, because I'm not completely sure. My parents said I can do it if I want to, but I know it's only 2 UMS marks off, so it's not likely I'm going to drop a grade, but I still could. But then I could get that A star. Is there much point? I don't know, but I'd really like to try and get another A star just to say I've got one. But either way, if not, I've got an A and I'm super chuffed with an A. Next, English literature. In this I was predicted an A and I got an A once again. But this one I've got a story behind the English literature exam. So basically you have 2 papers for the English literature, one about poetry and then one about the novels we studied. And the first paper was about the novels we studied, and I was really confident and I was pretty certain of myself. I normally am going into exams, I don't really get that nervous, but I ended up slipping up in the exam. The question was about 2 characters, and it was an engaged couple, like her and him, but instead I did her, but her brother instead. So I don't have a clue how I misread the question. I wasn't the only one after looking on Twitter, but that one question was 20% worth of the whole English literature, like GCSE. So I was really annoyed. After the exam I felt so confident about it, because I wrote a really good essay on her and her brother, but not her and her fiance. But what can you do? I know in my heart probably if I hadn't mucked that up I would have got that A star, because I wasn't that far off the A star, but what can you do? I guess I've learnt now, rather than learning at A level, that I need to read the questions, because I was so careful for the next exam. And obviously it paid off being careful, and they must have seen through my mistakes, so I still came out with the A, so it can't drop me that badly. Next I'm going to talk about the 3 sciences, chemistry, biology and physics. So I'm going to start with biology. In this I got an A and I was predicted an A, so I got my prediction, which was good. Biology's always been like my middle science. It's not been my best, it's not been my worst. So I've always found like biology more difficult than I actually do in the exam, if that makes sense. I always think it's a lot more difficult because it's a lot more wordy than the other sciences, because of all the fancy biology terms. But I always seem to do okay. I came out with an A, but like the breakdown of it, I got an A in the first paper. In the second paper I got an A star, and then in the controlled assessment I got an A, so it balanced at an A overall, which I'm once again really happy with. The next science was chemistry. In this I also got an A. Yeah, I got an A. Generally A's, but I was predicted an A and I got an A and I got an A at the mocks, so I hadn't dropped and hadn't improved, which again I'm really happy with, because chemistry is my hardest science. I used to find it easy a few years ago, but suddenly I completely swapped around and it became my hardest science. And the breakdown of chemistry was like an A in the first paper, A star in the second paper and an A in the controlled assessment, basically the same as biology, and overall balanced as an A. And then the last science is physics, which has always been my easiest science. Not always, it started being my easiest. Like when chemistry dropped being my easiest, physics became my easiest. For some reason, I had really bad confidence in physics. I never used to be that good. And my teacher was great. She used to say, oh, keep working hard. I did, but it never actually paid off until I think year 9 or year 10. And for some reason, I improved by a whole grade at that point, or 2 grades. And it gave me the confidence, and obviously it's paid off. So I got an A star in physics, which I'm so happy with. So I got an A star in the first paper, an A in the second paper, and an A star in the controlled assessment, which overall balanced it at the A star. Again, I improved from my prediction. I was predicted an A. I think I also got an A star in the mocks, but only just. This one was a lot more of a solid A star than the mocks. But yay! Next I'm going to talk about French, as it was our compulsory subject. I don't know why we have to do French, something to do with our headmistress wanting us to do it for some reason compulsory. I didn't really mind, I've always liked languages, but probably wouldn't have chosen French otherwise. But overall in French I got an A. I don't know the breakdown of it. I was predicted an A, and I'm really happy with an A. My teacher said she thought I was going to get an A. On a very good day I could have got an A star, on a bad day I would have gotten a B. So I'm just happy I got that A, because I know some of the controlled assessments are quite difficult for that, trying to memorise pages and pages of things to either write or speak. So yeah, A, big thumbs up for me. Now I'm going to go on to my 4 chosen subjects. I'm going to start with Mandarin first, as that's the first one on my sheet. Well, this sheet at least. In Mandarin I got an A, which I am so happy with. As my friend Jess said in her GCSE video, she really struggled with Mandarin, and so did I. I used to really enjoy it back in, when we started it, in year 6 or year 7 we started it, and I used to really enjoy it because I generally like languages, because I learnt Italian and Japanese back in year 5 or something, and I really enjoyed Mandarin. But as soon as it became a GCSE, the enjoyment, I lost it pretty quickly. I think it's because the workload got much harder than I was expecting. Yeah, I was expecting it to get harder, but it got a lot harder, and then our teacher was saying, oh yeah, you can do it, put in the effort, put in the effort. But when you've got 10 other subjects to worry about, trying to put in the most effort you can, it's really difficult. I honestly only thought I was going to just pass Mandarin, which sounds pretty pathetic considering I got an A, but quite a few of us felt the same way and ended up coming out great. 2 of the controlled assessments actually, the speaking ones, we had to do 3, even though only 2 get sent off because our first one was apparently awful. So the first one was pretty bad, the second one I did really well in, and then the third one I swear I did it as bad or if not worse than the first one. Nerves got over me so much. Don't know why, I always got nervous in front of my Mandarin teacher. We were in a different room, it probably didn't help, but again, it's really odd language to speak. You probably won't understand unless you've learnt it, or if you hear people talking it. It's pretty confusing, and I didn't have a clue what I was saying half the time. I was just saying the sounds, and when I forgot, I literally forgot and it was a blank. But either way, I am so happy that I got an A, and I'm just relieved I actually passed it. Next I'm going to talk about drama, as that's the next one on my list. In drama I also got an A, which I was also predicted, and I'm really happy with, because drama's split 60% acting and 40% written, and the acting, we did 4 or 5 pieces for it and only 2 get sent off, and mine were the 2 pieces from year 10, which is kind of silly because I didn't actually have to do a year 11, and I thought one of my year 11 pieces was really good. And then 40% was the written exam, and my teacher said to me, and I agreed, loads of my friends said I was equal, but my teacher and I both agreed that I'm stronger at my written than the acting. Not that that's a bad thing, because at A level, well, the course I'm doing, it swaps around, and 60% is written and 40% is acting, which is going to be great for me. But yeah, I found out from my class for drama I actually got the highest in the written exam, which I'm really happy with, because generally in lessons when we were doing essays or doing them for homework, I was generally at the top of the class throughout, since starting the GCSE, and near the last few weeks some people were coming up and joining me with those top marks, which kind of was annoying me. I'm glad I gave people motivation to help them get better, because some people were looking at my essays, but it was kind of I like being top of the class. That sounds really, really horrible in some respects, being oh, I want to be top of the class. But it was one of the subjects I was really good at, and the written side of it, and I always wanted to stay at the top, so I'm glad in some respects I did stay at the top during the actual exam. But yeah, so I was predicted an A, I got the A, another good exam. In ICT I was predicted an A, and I got an A overall, but it kind of balanced it out quite a lot, this one, because I got an A star in both of the written exams, and I was only 3 marks off the maximum marks in both of them. So I've always been pretty good. Again, at written exams I'm better at them generally. And then the 2 controlled assessments we had to do, one of which was making a spreadsheet and one was this interactive PowerPoint, I got B's in. Everyone seemed to do worse in the controlled assessments. I'm not completely sure why. I know we had a new teacher like a few years ago. The teacher we had for our GCSE only came a few years ago, and she was a lot more relaxed. She was very happy. She's a great teacher, but she wasn't the best if you were asking for help with it or guidance. She didn't really give you the most direct answer, and she just said, oh yeah, it's good, but obviously it can't have been that good. I got a B. I'm still happy with it because I got the A overall, but it's kind of annoying. So the spreadsheet one, I worked so hard with that one. I actually enjoyed it, which sounds a bit mad, but I worked so hard with it, and it's the most amazing spreadsheet I swear I've ever produced, obviously because it was GCSE. But I'm kind of disappointed it was only a B, that everyone did the same, like getting theirs controlled assessments lower than the actual written exam, but balanced out an A overall, which I was predicted, so I'm still happy with that. Then my last subject was geography, which I got an A star in, which I'm so happy with because my teacher said, oh, it's really difficult to try and get A stars in geography, and when she told me that a few months before the exam, I was kind of annoyed. I was like, oh damn it, I thought geography would be one of the subjects I'd actually get an A star in. Because in geography, yes, the written exam, which is 75%, there's 2 papers for that, but that's 75% of the GCSE, and then 25% was the controlled assessment. And not saying the name of my teacher said that if you don't get an A star in the controlled assessment, you're like pretty much not going to get an A star overall. And then I asked how many people get an A star in the controlled assessment, and she just like shook her head at me. Obviously I must have done pretty well in the controlled assessment and in the exam to get an A star overall, because I was predicting an A. In the mocks I got an A star boundary, but I was so solidly in this A star. This was my highest A star out of all the exams I did, because again on the UMS mark like scale, I was 20 UMS marks in my A star boundary. The whole thing was out of 400. I was at 380, and then to get an A star you'd have 360. And when I told my sister that, my older sister, she was like amazed, because it's really difficult to get an A star in geography, let alone being that high in the A star. So I hope you enjoyed this video then, guys. If you didn't count as I went along, overall I got 9 A's and 2 A stars, which I'm so happy with, because I improved in my subjects that were B's at mocks, became A's. Some A stars became A's as well. But I'm so happy to say I've got straight A's and above, or all A's and A stars, however you want to say it, in my GCSEs. And I can't wait to start at college. I'm doing English literature, maths, business and drama, and I'm so excited for that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and also subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!